everybody, I was trying to upload this one and look what they did. Said it's illegible, says it's copyright. But even though this video has been copyrighted and says it's illegible, right now, while I'm going to record this video, there is ads on it. I'm just hoping that it hurries up and we see it. Oh, it's waiting, see, it has to have a problem. Just waiting for it to come up so that you can see it. There you go. So obviously it's going now. There was another ad on here as well. So they've put ads on it. So this is obviously the original one. And there is the advert. We just skip it on. And obviously I'm going to have to go over this now and look at this video again to get it not copyrighted. But here it is. It's coming now and I'm going to talk. Yes, we're going to be watching this video, and I just cannot believe it that we're 2023 and this is going to be the next problem. Listen to what they're talking about.
After 45 minutes, over patients after 45 minutes. Whether there are staff there or not.
Sure. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They've got people waiting for them to go and call on because they've had an emergency at home or, you know, a life-threatening emergency at home, but they've still got a patient in their ambulance who might require oxygen. So whatever they do, you know, they can't win. Hospitals are running out of oxygen. There are patients on oxygen concentrators because they haven't got cylinders which give a higher concentration of oxygen.
It's just before here at 22 seconds that they decide not to like something. It might be this ad here, but it's only for 3 minutes. You know, when I go to the actual admin panel, it's only 3 minutes of this video that's been copyrighted. So obviously I'm adding this bit in, my little break-ins to get rid of the copyright. This is YouTube. This wouldn't happen on BitChute or Odyssey or anywhere else, just on YouTube. Yeah, there's something else I want to add to this. You know, we're, like I've said before, nearly all of us are probably immigrants to this country. When I look at my bloodline, I'm not English. My mum's Scottish and Welsh, and my dad's family came from France and Germany and were Jewish. One of them was Jewish. You know, so when I look at my bloodline, I'm not English. So, you know, that's what happens when most people look up their history. They'll realise they've got a bit of Italian or a bit of this or they're, you know, Amy is more English than me. So in this whole subject, when they're talking about what's going to happen, what's happening, they're not explaining that there are thousands and thousands more people placed in this country. I mean, you know, I've seen the adverts where they advertise for them, and they obviously come above us because they get given or promised all these things. It's a bit like, you know, you do it when you join something, even like Sky. The first year you join, you think, oh wow, amazing, it's all there. And then after that, you're forgotten. Only the new people coming in will get offers, not you. And that's what this is like. But they're not including the fact that a lot more people have come here in the last few years. And I mentioned later on that, you know, with what happened a few years ago, that I think many staff have left. And they're not including that. It's such a shame they can't tell the truth, isn't it?
But this is almost
really worrying.
This is almost like
the staff.
Your second new terminology. You've got staff having to make these terrible critical decisions to move someone who's dying in the corridor into a bed and get the person who needs to be in the bed into the corridor. It's just appalling. This is what ambulance crews in London are now doing. They're basically drawing a line, an artificial line in time, 45 minutes, and after 45...
Not that you can see it now, but there is an ad here which I'm actually going to cover over, right? But they are allowed to say this on national TV. This is ITV. We've got BBC, ITV. There are others, obviously, if you go to Sky and Virgin and stuff like that. But, you know, the main was the main television stations were BBC One, BBC Two, ITV. Then came Channel 4, Channel 5, and so forth, and the rest then appear. But they're allowed to say this He and them are all allowed to make this voice and say what they want on national TV so that you listen to it and become very concerned about what's going to go on. And YouTube decide to copyright me. It's quite incredible because I just don't think you're allowed to discuss things. And what does this say when the ITV are putting this up and YouTube don't take their video down? They don't take their video down for this, but they copyright me. I just find it so bizarre, but I don't think they like my voice. That's what it is. What I have to say.
5 minutes. If the patient's still in the ambulance, they're going to take him out, take him into the corridor, put them there, say, your problem, get back in the ambulance, and then hopefully answer another 999 call.
Absolutely. I know of hospitals where not only have they got trolleys in the corridors, they've run out of trolleys in the corridors and people on mattresses or sitting on the floor. Now, this is totally unacceptable. This is third world medicine.
Unless they are lying, well, we know that they always lie, but they've told us that the UK is one of the richest, economies in the world. And he's talking about third world stuff. I just find this really incredible, but I have realised that, when they've shown us all these programmes of the Russians and people like that and said, oh, how terribly they've been treated. They forgot to tell you that they were treating you worse than they say that the Russians are treating their people. Because this is like, I don't know what you call it. I call it totalitarianism. Is that right? Because, why would YouTube do that? Why not? I understand. We make a video. We don't know how it's going to turn out sometimes. As makers, more than likely, we're copying. How many videos do you watch with cats and dogs and animals? Well, that wasn't the person who made the video. That was someone else's video. So, unless you're filming yourself very often, or having conversations with people that you're making, then really you're copying other people's information, just like I did on this. But for 3 minutes, they decided to copyright it. What? Because this is on ITV. I haven't said it. I'm just showing you what they're saying and what probably is going to be the next goddamn problem. But how can we get to the stage where all this is happening and no one's noticed till we've got here? How does that happen when you've got managers that are being paid extremely high wages? And, we didn't ask for it to be privatised. They privatised it. Now they're probably going to nationalise it again, because that's what they do. Because to make money, they have to change it and change it and change it. Spend your money, but keep changing things. We do not keep asking these people to do these things. If they really, really, really went to the people, they'd find that most people don't vote or don't just want it at all. Anyway, let's carry on with the video. But it's quite alarming when you're one of the biggest economies in the world and they're turning around and telling you this thing is like third world. What does it mean? Does it mean they're going to completely privatise it? Because I was very shocked when Mickey was in hospital. Because obviously Reading Hospital covers many towns, including mine, Hungerford, all the surrounding villages, right the way around this great big, circumference. And when we were in there, we were looking at some of the stuff which obviously the hospital was talking about. And it said that a part of that hospital was privatised. Ha! Great, because it's privatised. So, is that what's coming? But in a sense, they're moaning about privatisation here, so who knows? They change the story all the time. But they put these people on to give this discussion. If it's in the public and it's a news programme, why am I being copyrighted? They said it, not me, and they want to alarm you, don't forget. Oh my God! The ones that have woken up probably don't want to go anywhere near a hospital or a doctor unless you really, really have to. But many people, once you start putting prime ministers in and out, mentioning wars, mentioning the economy, down, 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 putting all the prices up, gas and electric. Oh yes, we've had the Queen die. So a lot of people, that's very, very unsettling. And it makes people do things in different ways because now they're unsettled. you know, even jobs. They're not going to take on people if you're being told prices are going up, the economy's going down, rah, 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 da. And these are the people that keep telling us. These are the people that keep frightening you. But in a sense, I'm doing it because I'm reporting it to you. But I just wanted you to see. I thought, oh my God, no, this is going to be the next level. Now, we've had toilet paper, we've had petrol, diesel, and it just goes on. They never, ever stop and give the public a break. They never give people enough time to even think about what's happening or even go and look at what's happening because they're on to their next story.
And we've never known anything like this. And for the government to say we're not in a crisis is frankly incompetent.
I wonder if I think his ambulance email leak, because I think what it is just to explain that many people were drawn into that link. So we're talking of thousands of people saw whatever was in that letter. I don't think it's on the beginning of this video. I did watch it, but basically they were saying, the ambulance people, that they'd had enough of all this waiting around at hospitals and they wanted to change things a bit. But you know, when Mickey went to hospital, we were really surprised that the ambulance that picked him up in Newbury, I know you don't know where it is, but Reading is about an hour away, the hospital, from here, the main hospital. That's what's so crazy about all this. They've taken away all the other hospitals. So it's an hour to get there. But, you know, if we went to where the other ambulance came from, in the complete opposite direction, it's another hour, hour and a half. So that ambulance that picked Mickey up came from Southampton, which is down on the coast. I don't live on the coast. But that means that ambulance, when it dropped Mickey off, was now 2.5 hours actually really out of its area, even though the ambulances get called in a certain area. But it's 2.5 hours away from where it's come from. So this is obviously some of the problems they're having. I really wish that people stopped being hypochondriacs a lot of the time. You know, oh, I've got a cold, I need to go to the doctors. Oh, I've got this little tiny cut, I need to go to the hospital. And let the hospital really care for sick people rather than waiting rooms full of people going, I've got a cold. And what they've done is they might have given it to a lot of the people in the room. Or other people will catch it now because they've gone to a hospital. I don't know. You know, the whole point was stay at home if you've got colds as much as possible. Don't give it to everyone else. Not everybody else is going to get it. We've already done that one. I'm not getting into that. But certain people will catch it. You've got to say that you're happy inside. You've got to say, I'm fit, I'm well, and get on with it. Otherwise, we're listening and frightened of all this stuff all the time.
What would you have thought if, let's say, let's pluck a figure out of the air, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, one of us had read to you these new terminologies: car triage, reverse boarding, stroke doctor. You wouldn't have known what we were talking about.
No.
In other words, the prospect of the NHS declining into this mess wouldn't have even occurred to you that it could get this bad.
We have quite watched in the last few years so much of our life change that in this thing where we were shut in our houses, it was a bit of a shame that they didn't explain all that then. As I said, I think people left the business, you know, the hospitals and stuff, and, you know, they haven't been replaced. Everybody seems to be wanting people. You know, that's what I see around me. That's what it looks like. Doesn't mean it really is, because, you know, how could it have got to this state? What, suddenly, you've had just get Christmas out the way where everybody's feeling a little bit happier, they've had a few family meetings, a good bit of turkey, whatever it is, and then suddenly, bang, 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 again. Crazy or what? Come on. Come on, everybody. Yes. But if you weren't a hypochondriac and want, some people, I suppose, have to take the things, the farmer, but most people are hypochondriacs and get, I mean, like, you can't keep getting antibiotics. It's okay to have a shot of antibiotics every now and again, but if you keep having them, they're not going to work, etc., etc. And we're a bit of a nanny state anyway, aren't we? And then they suddenly turn around and say that, like, if it's a lifeline to people, you know, especially elderly people or people who are on long-term medicines. Imagine listening to all this. You're going to get a bit worried, aren't you? I just hate what they do to the people. They just do not care. Or is this really a discussion? Is he really going to keep his job after, you know, the heading says delusional Prime Minister, and he's saying we're at crisis point, third world, it's broken. With the original video, which was only about 9 minutes long, I didn't say very much, but I did want to put a few things in there. And now, because of the copyright, I've had to say my bit. And I'd like to say more, but I can't. Anyway, watch the rest of the video. Thanks for watching, and hopefully this is enough to make this video okay now.
Well, that is the problem. I mean, we talked about the NHS yesterday, and we'll talk about it again on the programme, because it is the biggest issue that the country's talking about at the moment. And what I said yesterday is that the NHS has got more funding than it's ever had in its history. And for me, the issue is not about how much money you put in it anymore. It's about how you reform it and how you make it work effectively. Now,
it's very strange that he says that after we know that masses in the National Health is privatised and they've got managers and everything like that. So if they've got all that, how can this be happening? What is this, like the toilet roll stuff? Again, just, you know, this is going to be now that you can't go to hospital. Is that what it's going to be?
There's a massive gap in staff,
Dr. Hillary talks about
isn't
car triage. No one wants to hear about anything about car triage, but we also know that with GPs, you now tend to talk to your GP on your phone and get advice and help over the phone. So the way people are dealt with changes greatly. We want to see more pharmacies.
When did we ever think that that was all you were going to get, is to be able to talk, if you were lucky, to your doctor on a telephone?
Example.
I don't think it's anything to do with who's in power. They're all selected, not elected. And, you know, the story never changes, does it? You know, that's why the Labour Party was made in the 1800s. Nothing is changing. We've still got the same problems today when they've taken so much money, like the churches, and built all these buildings and taken your money and, you know, farming out all these drugs. Oh, but actually, after all, now there's a problem. But, you know, I think a lot of nurses and doctors left a few years ago. That has not helped the situation. Rather tell us the truth that that's what it is. But they're not going to, are they? Crisis. I think we've all noticed for a few years it's been in crisis if you can only talk to your doctor on the phone. I think the law's changed and that's the way it is. It's ridiculous, making it look like you can't get to see a doctor and all that. Yeah, look at that. NHS in crisis. Da-da. Next problem.
To NHS managers, who many people say are oversubscribed and overpaid.
Ed says they've got the money.
Well, look, you know, there has been this revolving door of managers failing and then getting another job in another hospital elsewhere. But on the whole, I think managers do a very good job.
What do they want? They made it privatised. They did it. What do they want? Except everything they said they wanted, they never got, and nothing has really changed, and everything is still the same as it was, sir.
Doctors looking after those who could afford it only, and other people just died. Now, if we return to that model, then everyone's protected, but we cannot expect the NHS to do everything for everybody.
Okay.
And those people who can't get what they want right now can be quite abusive and aggressive to staff. And we've got photographs on this site of surgeries that have been smashed up by angry, frustrated patients who are just, you know...
At the end of their tether.
At the end of their tether.
All right, Dr. Hillary, thanks very much indeed.
Well, that's the end of that. The next crisis to happen. You can't get a bed, you can't get the air, you can't get a nurse, you can't get this, and now the ambulance, if they have to wait more than, 45 minutes, which is still quite a long time, isn't it, are going to dump you at the hospital and say, you deal with it. Great. Anyway, thanks for watching. What's your thoughts?